On the buck stops here today, the larger debate on the politics of compassion. Is Jayalalitha's timing suspect? Has the Congress confused its own position with the Gandhi family stepping in and asking for pardon for Nalini? And also, what will happen with copycat demands in other states from Jammu and Kashmir to Punjab? Let's introduce our panel this evening. With me in the studio is C.R.Kesavan. He is, of course, from Tamil Nadu, but also a spokesperson of the Congress party. Joining us on the program tonight, Naresh Gujral, senior leader of the Akali Dal. Remember, the Akalis are now saying that the Bhullar case should be given exactly the same treatment. They're questioning whether Tamil Nadu can have one set of rules and Punjab needs to have another. Also joining me tonight, senior advocate Dushyant Dave. Wait, how does the law play out in all of this, especially since the Supreme Court, in its last paragraph of that judgment, left a provision for remissions by what it called the appropriate government. We're joined as well tonight for the perspective from the people of Tamil Nadu who believe these men should be released. Meena Kandasamy, poet, writer and activist, joining us from Chennai, and Nyani, who's a senior journalist, writer and poet, joining us as well, I think from Bangalore. And from Srinagar tonight, Tanveer Sadiq, spokesperson of the National Conference, Jammu and Kashmir's assembly, also up in arms over what it's saying is one set of rules for Tamil Nadu and another set of rules for Afzal Guru. Before I get the politicians in, Dushyant, your thoughts at what is happening. You heard Priyanka saying what she did to me in 2009, actually saying that Nalini has suffered as well. On the other hand, you have Rahul Gandhi saying if the killers of the Prime Minister can walk free, think of what happens to an ordinary person. And now you have Punjab, you have the Akali saying, what about Bhullar? You have the Jammu and Kashmir politicians saying you executed Afzal Guru in a haste. Are you concerned about politics reaching this level that you can't actually even separate terror cases from politics?
Barkha, I am more concerned about the approach of the Supreme Court than the politics, because it is the Supreme Court which is now giving these politicians handle to do what they are doing. I must say with greatest regret that what Supreme Court has done in this series of cases, giving reprieve from death sentence to life imprisonment to many of the convicts who were guilty of heinous crimes, was absolutely uncalled for. I don't know of any jurisprudence in which they could have done it. You see, you have to understand that in each one of these cases, the Supreme Court itself had found these people guilty and had concurred or had granted death sentences. Now, many years later, the Supreme Court has no power to review these decisions and,
so your problem, Dushyant, is with the judgment. You're saying the judgment has given a handle to the politicians to do this.
Absolutely. And one more thing, Barkha, what is troublesome is that Supreme Court says that they are entitled to this pardon because of the delay on the part of the President in deciding their mercy petitions.
Yes.
I ask a question to the judges, that what about the time that they take, 10, 20 years to convict people ultimately? Why should that then be not ground not to convict anybody in the country? I mean, it's ridiculous that judges don't understand that these are crimes against humanity, these are crimes against society. And unless and until you take a hard stand, you won't be able to find the lawlessness in the country. So first and foremost, we have to understand that judges have gone wrong, not the politicians.
That's very interesting, that it's the judgment itself, and Kesavan, let me bring you in, there's the judgment itself that left this loophole. And in fact, its last paragraph very clearly says that these men are now to remain in life imprisonment, subject to remissions by the appropriate government. Now, I want to bring you in from the Tamil Nadu perspective. You have Tamil Nadu politicians somewhat nervous about taking a categorical position on this. They seem more circumspect, perhaps because popular sentiment. There must be popular sentiment in Tamil Nadu, which is why Jayalalitha has done this. Where does the Congress stand on this? Because even the Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, in an interview to me, he said that why should I get into whether I'm happy or unhappy? This is the court's decision and the court has empowered the executive to do this. So it's not a case of being happy or unhappy.
Marka, the Congress party unequivocally condemns the way in which the Tamil Nadu government and the cabinet have passed this resolution to free these 3 convicts.
But you don't believe there's a contradiction in the Congress response, because it was Mrs. Gandhi who first asked for pardon for Nalini, and you heard Priyanka there in her interview with me.
I will first explain the stand of the family and then I'll explain the stand of the Tamil Nadu government. The first one is emotional, the second one is political. When you talk about Mrs. Gandhi's, let's trace back. Srimati Sonia Gandhi in 1999 on November 18th, when she met K.R. Narayanan, very clearly wrote a letter. At that point of time, the Tada court had convicted 26 people and everybody was sentenced to life. And then the Supreme Court had said 19 of them are okay to go, 3 of them have life sentence and 4 of them are death penalty. And one of them was Nalini, who had a little child. So Srimati Sonia Gandhi wrote, neither me, my daughter, nor my son, we wish death penalty for the killers of Shri Rajiv Gandhi. And we have also suffered the loss of a beloved husband and a father.
So you're saying they were opposed to the death penalty but not for freedom?
No, they were very clearly concerned even about Nalini's daughter here, and that's why Nalini's death sentence was commuted. But it is very, very clear they were not for letting these people go scot-free. They just opposed the death penalty. Now let's come back to Tamil Nadu and see what has happened. We have legal luminaries here. Let's take the simple man and common man and woman who don't understand legal, the tapestry of legal nuances. What are they thinking today? They think a person, he is not just a Congress president, he was a former prime minister, and it was an attack not on an individual, on the sovereignty, integrity and honor of this country.
But then,
and then these people, and what has happened here is, they have gone ahead and said, let's let them go. People think you can kill a prime minister and go scot-free. That is wrong. And the politics of opportunism is completely betrayed here by one thing. If you see three people, Robert Pius, Ravi Kumar and Jay Kumar, have from 1999, May 11, been given life sentence. So if the Tamil Nadu government wanted to release them with the power of remission, they could have done it much before this order of the Supreme Court.
That's a very interesting point. My
question here is, it smacks of political opportunism, and it's unfortunate that they're playing politics with the death of a prime minister, because one thing, Barka, what they have done here is not even shaken the basic faith the person has in the rule of law. They have basically cast a grave doubt on the basic resolve we have to fight against terrorism.
Okay, very interesting that Jayalalitha could have actually stepped in much earlier with at least 3 of these cases since 2011. Meena Kandasamy and Nyani, before I bring in the other parties from Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir, very quickly, Meena, why then are you backing this political opportunism? Isn't the timing of what Jayalalitha is doing utterly suspect?
Barka, the timing follows the Supreme Court judgment.
Yeah.
So, the fact that it's an election year is
But Kesavan just said that she could have released the others who were not on death row. The others who were not on death row. There were 3 people who were on death row, but the others were not on death row. So they were on life imprisonment. So she could have worked towards their release.
Yeah, but at the moment, I don't think there was any, legal intervention from them, or whether there were petitions pending, or, what was the case of the affairs, or whether they had actually, what was the time they spent in prison. So I don't want to speculate on the decision of the state government or what they could have or could not have done. But as somebody who understands that, see, again and again, nobody is saying these people should go scot-free. The fact is that they lived in the shadow of death. They were, they had no clue what is going to happen to their lives. And so as a state, we should be against capital punishment, and this is how we should approach it.
No, but being opposed to capital punishment is different, Nyani, and let me bring you in, is different from them walking free. Aren't those 2 different things? Nyani.
Barka, the point is very simple. I agree with you there that both Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha should have given remission to these convicts long ago. After they have completed 10-14 years, they could have been given remission long ago. It did not happen simply because of their mutual politics which was going on in Tamil Nadu. So that is the real issue. But if you look at giving remission to people who have been convicted of murder, whether it is political murder or private murder, or whether it is sexual murder or whatever be the nature of crime, 1,500 convicts have been freed who have put in 10 years of imprisonment in the prison. In the name of Gandhi's birthday, in the name of Anna's birthday, it is customary for both the governments to release prisoners if they have put in more than 10 years of imprisonment.
No, what's your point?
They have been released.
What's your point?
What's your point?
What is your point, Nyani? You're saying that if other people could be released, but aren't these cases different? As Kesavan said, this is an attack on India.
My point is, it is not against rule of law to give remission to people who have been convicted of crimes. That is my point. It has been rule of law. The remission power is with the state government. On Gandhi birthday,
I let Kesavan come in for just a moment, just one line, and then I'll go to Dushyant and then Naresh Gujral.
The Supreme Court, Barka, has very clearly said this is the rarest of rare crimes. And let me just point one point here, the legal aspect. You talked about the order. It very clearly said subject to remission, subject to procedural looking at the procedural steps in 432 and also looking at substantive procedures in 433, and 433A concerns restriction of remission. That very clearly shows that there are certain places in which you can't use remission. So they have been very clear, and the procedure is allowed for it. Barka, the procedure says you have to have an advisory board which will meet, give recommendations to the state government. State government will then send it to the central government, which can send it to the law ministry. Nothing has been followed overnight.
But let's expand this. Let's expand this. You made your point, Dushyant. The point that is coming from Meena Kandasamy and Gnani Sankaran from Tamil Nadu is that the law does allow for people to be released, and if other prisoners can be released, why not these? Even if the timing is suspect. I just want you to come in as a lawyer on that, and then I want Mr. Gujral and Tanveer Sadiq to come in. Dushyant, briefly.
Several things. One, that undoubtedly law allows. There is no doubt about the power of the state government to grant remission. But this was a very extremely heinous crime. It was almost a terrorist strike, and 19 people have died in this. So that's one distinguishing feature. The other is that recent years the Supreme Court has taken the view that life imprisonment must mean life, and it should not mean 14 years that used to be perceived once upon a time. So things have changed, the jurisprudence has changed, and lastly, I do not think either Sonia Gandhi or her children have any right really to make any judgment about these matters. These are crimes against society, and it is only taking cue from Supreme Court that the Tamil Nadu government is now hell-bent upon releasing them.
All right, that's an important point, that the Gandhis actually had no right to interfere with the legal process. I will get Mr. Kesavan to respond to that. But what's happening in other states now? They're saying what's going on. This can't happen only in Tamil Nadu. Let's bring Naresh Gujral in. Naresh Gujral, is it right, is it correct for the Akali Dal to now say that you've done this with these men, now please do the same in the Bhullar case? The SGPC has also said the same today. Shouldn't all parties take a united stand on the issue of terrorism, on the issue of political assassination?
SGPC or the Punjab government have never said that Bhullar should be let off because you've done this in Tamil Nadu. What they've been saying is, Bhullar is mentally sick. He has been behind bars for 23 years. 2 or 3 medical examinations have been held, and they've all confirmed that he is mentally unstable. So it's purely on those grounds that they are requesting that he be released. It has nothing to do with Tamil Nadu. But I would like to say one thing here, Barkha. While I empathize with Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and I understand his pain and anguish, but the country also has to understand the pain and anguish of the 12,000 people who were killed and their families, who've been waiting for justice now for 30 years. Those who killed them, and some of them were killed in front of the families, and even trials have not taken place. So, you can't have selective dishing out of justice.
But Mr. Gujral, before I put that to the Congress representative, my question to you is, in Rajuana's case, for example, a date was actually fixed for his execution and your government stopped it. So in every state we are seeing regional parties imagining a regional vote bank intervening.
Our government did not stop it. Our government went to the president, and it was the president who said he will review the plea of the state government. We did nothing to stop it. All we did was go to because there was a lot of
But isn't it correct that a date was set? Isn't it correct that a date was set and then you went to the president?
Absolutely. No, the date was set, yes.
Yes.
But there was a feeling in Punjab amongst a large section of people that it was a miscarriage of justice. And as a result, the government went to the president.
But here's the point.
Here's the
point. Very interesting that you say there's a perception that it was a miscarriage of justice, because that's exactly what they're saying in Jammu and Kashmir about the Afzal Guru case. And Tanveer Sadiq, let's bring you in. You see, this is what all of you tried to say, that the manner in which, or the speed at which Afzal Guru, convicted in the Parliament attack case, was executed, raised all kinds of questions. Now you have the Punjab government saying, we too have perceptions of miscarriage of justice. So what the ordinary Indian is really feeling is that every terror case is getting politicized to a degree where we can't separate fact from fiction.
See, Barkha, while we are very sad and the people of Kashmir are very sad, and the big question here that people are asking is there one law for Kashmir and another for the rest of the country?
Yeah.
I mean, you satisfied the collective conscience of the country by executing Afzal Guru, but that need was never felt in case of the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi or Biyat Singh. I mean, are you determining the execution by how many seats a state has? I mean, Kashmir has 3, Punjab has more, or Tamil Nadu. I mean, see, you have only added to the injury of the Kashmiris. What the least, what is very important is that people in sit and think what they have achieved by executing Afzal Guru. The least they can do right now is to at least return the mortal remains of him. Okay. Like the Chief Minister, Mr. Omar Abdullah, has said in his letter. I mean, it is widely perceived that Afzal Guru was not directly involved. It was circumstantial evidence against him. And in spite of that, you hanged him. You didn't let his family meet him. And at the end of the day, people perceive him as a hero, as a victim, or somebody who didn't get a fair trial. So what you did is that be considered as the biggest ghastly memory in the history of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, before I get the politicians back in, Kesavan, I know you've got your hand up. I just want to get Meena and Jnani back for just a moment. Meena, let me go to you. Look what's happening. You've got Punjab's politicians raising questions of miscarriage of justice in their state. You've got Jammu and Kashmir saying questions about Afzal Guru. The fact of the matter is, would you not accept that the Supreme Court has to be treated as the last word? Meena?
No, but Barka, the fact is that irrespective of whether we are Tamil or not, we are also human beings, and you know, as people who campaign against the death penalty, we wanted Bullard to be out, and we were all saying that, you know, Afzal Guru's hanging.
No, but commuting deaths to life is different. But Meena, commuting deaths to life is different from being out of prison. You can have life sentence till the end of life.
No, out of prison, see Barka, the Constitution of India, the Criminal Procedure Code, it applies equally to all citizens. We, unfortunately, if you want to treat terrorist cases separately, you should introduce an amendment and say if they are terrorists, they should stay in prison all the time. Because as it stands, as the Criminal Procedure Code stands, it says that if the government wants to, send them out, if they want to suspend the sentence, if it wants to remit it, it can do that. So there is, as a citizen of India, I think there's nothing that in that 430.
So Jnani, are you and Meena actually saying that terror cases? Yes, Jnani, would you agree with Meena that a terror case is no different from other cases?
There's nothing that says it should be.
Okay, I've got your point. Let Jnani come in there.
It's merely a perception.
Yeah. Jnani, but for the Indians, for the citizen, is different. An attack on the state is different, and an assassination of the Prime Minister is different from a murder and a theft.
Barka, law does not distinguish between them. There is no separate law or any section in the CRPC or IPC or any of the law in the country which distinguishes between a crime against one individual or a crime against one person holding an office. That is not the issue here. If you talk about carrying of misjustice, even in Rajiv case, the Perarivalan case is a very important issue in point. Very recently, the inquiry officer Tyagarajan came up saying that he wrote wrongly what Perarivalan did not say at all, which amounts to carrying of misjustice, and that has not been inquired into by Supreme Court yet.
Okay. I want to bring in. Sorry to interrupt. I want to bring in Dushyant Dave in the last comments. I know, Mr. Kesavan, give me a second. Dushyant, why I'm bringing you in is because 2 points have been raised. One, terror cases under the law are not different from other cases, is what a number of people here are saying. And two, whether it's a Rajwana case, whether it's Afzal Guru, whether it is Rajiv Gandhi's assassination, you have their politicians willing to say that a miscarriage of justice was possible. They don't trust the judicial process.
Barka, let me answer the second question first.
Yeah.
There is no doubt that politics has taken over the criminal justice delivery system right from the stage of investigation, where you have politically savvy policemen who are investigating, and they completely botch up the investigation. You have public prosecutors who are generally politically appointed, and therefore they take a clear stand which their political masters want. Unfortunately, the judges are falling prey to that. Now, I completely agree with Mr. Gujral that a whole community is waiting for justice in Delhi for 30 years. Likewise, a whole community is waiting for justice for last 12 years in Gujarat. So, and you find that these hardcore criminals who have committed heinous crimes, killing of innocent young children, raping them, are all getting freed thanks to these, very, very compassionate judges who have suddenly rediscovered new jurisprudence. So I feel very seriously disturbed that the judges are actually playing in the hands of the politics, and the politicians are taking advantage of that. That's having said that, let me say that undoubtedly the terrorist strikes and the kind of rarest of rare cases that was Rajiv Gandhi's assassination stands and must stand on a very different footing. You can't give an impression to the people that these kind of criminals can be dealt with, with kid gloves, and that the state is soft and not strong enough to fight this terrorism with harshest, measures.
Okay.
If you can't do that through legal system, how are you going to do it? Through encounters? So I personally feel that this approach is a very wrong approach on both politicians and judiciary's side.
Kesavan, last comments from you. 2 points have been made. One, Mr. Dave said that the family should never have been involved. It should never have expressed an opinion. It was interfering in a sense with the legal process. Is there confused messaging when you have empathy for Nalini, even empathy for her as a possible victim or her daughter as a possible victim, and then today saying that we are upset at what's happened?
There is no confusion here. Let me draw a parallel. Srimati Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi said what they said in the capacity of being family members. You draw a parallel to what happened when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. The family of Mahatma Gandhi went up and asked for clemency for Nathuram Godse, but Sardar Patel and Nehru and the courts refused it. So this was done in the capacity of a family. So they have every right to do it. Second point I want to make here is about Jayalalitha's case. See, the problem here is not, she has entitled to power of remission, but here you have a CBI, you have a TADA court which comes under central jurisdiction, you have somebody arrested in the Arms Act and the Foreign National Act. So this is clearly the jurisdiction of the center. So you can't arbitrarily exercise your remission power. So that's where the mischief is. Third point I make on a larger scale.
Just a minute left.
Larger scale is this. See, out of this outcome, two things will come out. There is no legal clause for a time for deciding clemency with the president. That will be addressed. Second thing is arbitrary use, like the Tamil Nadu government, of exercising remittance power will come to an end with this case. These are the two good outcomes we can expect from the Supreme
Court. All right, Naresh Gujral, 30 seconds. Just come in there. How far are you going to go with the Bhullar case? Because do you believe that religious bodies like the SGPC should be involved at all in expressing an opinion on these cases?
Why not? Who do they represent? They represent the people of Punjab. So if they appeal, what is wrong with that? They are only saying that the man is mentally unstable. He has suffered a lot. 3 medical boards have confirmed that he is mentally very sick. So if they appeal on grounds of compassion, what is wrong with that, Barkha?
Tanveer Sadiq, your 30 seconds. Do you believe that this is going to create political repercussions in Kashmir?
It will. That, like I said, the least now we can do is that people in Delhi should sit and say that, okay, now like the Chief Minister, Mr. Omar Abdullah, sent a letter to the Prime Minister that now the least we can do is to return the mortal remains of Afzal Guru. At least that might cool down a little tempers. But don't forget, this will be one of the ghastly memories in the history of Kashmir, and we have to do this. You can't have 2 yardsticks for one state and the other.
So a number of questions thrown up by the Supreme Court judgment citing unexplained delays as the reason for commuting death to life. Jayalalitha's government threatening to take it one step further by saying that these convicts should now be released. How will this case play out in court? We'll have to wait and see. We'll leave it there. To C.R.Kesavan, Nyani Sankaran, Meena Kandasamy, Tanveer Sadiq, Naresh Gujral and Dushyant Dave. Thanks for joining us on the Buck Stops here. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.